You know, if they take the time to research, like, oh, well, this film's been to, you know, 6 other very small film festivals, or 3 gay and lesbian film festivals, and if the programmers truly love the film and say, this is a film that needs to get seen here in Park City, where the industry is, it'll get in.
And conversely, for the gay programmers, is it like a plus or a minus to be a premiere versus being at the festival?
It's nice, but it's not. We don't stick totally to premiere status. I mean, locally, yes, you've got to be a Bay Area premiere, ideally, for a festival. But
there is a kind of circuit that happens at the gay lesbian film festivals where Miami is kind of first, and then kind of moves
Toronto,
through,
New York, San
and
Francisco.
so then, you know, we send the tapes to each other, and you know, like there's no presumption that you're premiering necessarily if you know that it's going to go to other cities. We don't, but I guess it's a local premiere is an issue.
It can affect slotting more than anything.
The nightmare is Outfest in Philadelphia because once again we're back to back, I think, for 2009, which is kind of crazy, but that's just where we are. So I mean, this is the first time I'm going to be doing this because I was in Miami and first on the circuit, but now I'm going to have to be working closely with Kirsten and Kimberly to do the slotting and programming for the Gay and Lesbian Festival.
You're more likely to get a better slot if you're a premiere.
Jenny Olsen, my hero, Jenny Olsen.
I was just getting your attention.
I wanted to ask you to comment on something.
My question is, what is the responsibility of the GLBT film festivals to try to break the mainstream barrier, that glass ceiling that I think exists when it comes to gay and lesbian films?
Well, I mean, I know that I just speak very anecdotally, but I mean, you know, when Hollywood, the sort of small studios were the sort of fashionable boutique things were going on in the 90s. I know that when I was on the Outfest board, it was a lot easier to think about programming a sort of mini major movie, and that's actually what we tried to do as like an opening night movie was, you know, I'm trying to think of all those titles of all those movies. I can't think of one now, but not Porn Monster, but also like the. You know, the sort of Miramax, Kissing Jessica Stein, but also like the Dan Bogatinski's movie, All Over Me. But I think that, you know, there's a reason to try to, those kinds of Hollywood, quote-unquote, when they thought that they could have Hollywood movies, even for mini studios, that would have these characters and that would cross over, you know, they realized there was a limit to how much money they could ever make from those movies. And then this entertainment industry has changed so much that those those don't exist anymore, much less try to cultivate gay and lesbian films. But what's the film with the guy who tries to get a date all night, he tries to get in his apartment? Trick! That to me is sort of the epitome of that. It's like that kind of thing. But, I mean...
Do you mean our responsibility to help LGBT films get into the mainstream, to move up?
Well, well, it's a combination. Yes, help them, but also, where is it responsibility to not grab Warner Brothers or Weinstein and sit them down in the chair, but, you know...
I actually think we are doing that. I think we are all doing that. Especially in cities where the entertainment industry exists, primarily Los Angeles, New York, and a little bit of a few others, we're doing that by having successful queer film festivals and having the industry come to our festivals and see these great movies and discover talent. We did a panel a couple of years ago about gay directors who made Disney movies.
I was going to say, it's a teen movie.
And there was like, in 1 year, there was like a half a dozen directors who had films at Outfest in the last 5 years who were, a number of them discovered at Outfest and hired to make like movies for 8-year-olds.
With Hilary Duff and things like that.
Yeah, and those directors bring a queer sensibility to the Disney movies that they're making. And so it happens in all these different interesting ways.
Well, I mean, someone like Angela Robinson, who, you know, is like, you know, she wants a mainstream career. She's looking for that, but she has, you know, a sort of the bed of her career has been in these lesbian films.
She may have changed her mind a little bit after that Disney movie.
Producing lesbian film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's definitely room for more balance between mainstream festivals and gay and lesbian film festivals. I think the gay and lesbian film festival circuit is very important, you know, to give a voice to all those films and a place for people to see them who are fans of those films and, you know, for that community. But if there were more mainstream film festivals, particularly like in the center of the country, speaking about the U.S., who do what like Toronto and Sundance do, you know, and a little more of that, I think there's a lot of room for that balance, and I think both is needed. You know, if mainstream festivals are just programming great films, and if there's 25 films and 10 of those films happen to be great gay and lesbian themed films, then that's great.
There's also the question of world distribution. So many of the foreign films that you can see at a gay and lesbian film festival, because of the way distribution is in this country, will not be seen by any audience. And you can actually bring in straight audiences to see an Israeli film, to see a Spanish film, to see a Filipino film. You know, that's something that needs to be said, that the gay and lesbian film circuit has really served an underserved, non-gay community.
6% of our money.
I think we only have time for like a couple more questions, but go ahead, sir.
Hello there. I guess I kind of feel like looking at it from, I just barely kind of got into this whole situation with, you know, working in queer films and things like that. But I kind of see it as if we're trying to capture our sponsors to keep the festivals going to grow, then it feels like my responsibility as a filmmaker to really try and enhance that story and get in so much more emotionally to the story to where we have a better product to show people. Kind of going off of like the general audience is so much bigger than our audiences, and the sponsors kind of see that as, you know, we're not making the same money that we do with these festivals. So if we were to put out, I guess to me it feels like if I can write and put out a film that can touch the same things as, you know, to lesbian and gays and stuff, as well as normal people, you know,
I think that's a falsehood. I think that's a falsehood because if you look at Brokeback Mountain did very well.
Right.
Milk is doing, you know,
Sad ending.
Milk is doing pretty well, but it's a limited releases. You know, Brokeback. I think the biggest misconception is that a lot of these filmmakers, like myself, that we try to adapt or we try to adjust. Because when I first started writing, and I first did my first pitch for one of my screenplays that I've done and I've done the draft over and over, I was told flat out that it will never sell. Gay movies won't sell. And I'm like, but it's not a gay movie. You know, you're dealing with an overall theme, and that's what you have to really try to get. But to say that the market is not there, I disagree with that.
You also brought up 2 films made by Focus, and Jade Seamus is not a gay man, but he's an intellectual.
But I think, like, I know when I first saw Trick, I'm from Fort Lauderdale, so I know Carol. I saw it in Fort Lauderdale. I saw it at the Gateway, and it was packed. And Trick was out, I can't remember what year it was, but it did well. You go to the DVD sales on Trick, I guarantee you can put that up against anything, and it's going to have the numbers. So the numbers are there.
But that's where I have to cut in and say, I mean...
But the numbers are there, I think. I think the problem is we just have to let mainstream America know that, or the corporations know that the numbers are there.
Well, that's why they stopped making those films, though. I mean, they
I
realized
gotta
that
tell you,
they
the numbers just don't match up. I mean, okay, I was working on getting a DVD deal for Senator, it's a company that hires me, and I had a meeting with every single studio DVD company, and they have all their sales figures in front of them. We weren't analyzing gay cinema per se, but there's such a what they call underconvergence for anything art house, for anything that doesn't have major stars, for anything that's not genre. And you know, really, you could analyze I could do a case study on Trick, take a look at the budget, take a look at the P&A spend, and probably come up with a deficit. Probably. And if I didn't come up with a deficit, we'd come out net, flat, something. No huge profit is there.